we come to the next problem, and that is the problem of anthropology. Who are we? What are we? We all admit, that is, pagans and Israelites, the same thing. The human being is, well, from the biblical point of view, the human being is an animal with a spark of God. An animal that had breathed into it the divine spirit and then somehow acquired intelligence which is equivalent to the divine. Human intelligence, I'm not saying that human intelligence is as great as God's intelligence. Again, you know, I'm not trying to be theological here, but let us say that according to the Bible, God is not what theologians make him out to be. All right, let's get that straight. I mean, Maimonides and Thomas Aquinas and all of the great philosophers and theologians, they have a certain concept of God, doesn't agree with the Bible. I'll give you one particular instance. According to the theologians, God is perfect, God is omniscient, God is omnipotent, God is the ultimate perfection and cannot really be defined. According to the Bible, God is fallible. God makes mistakes. Who told me? God said so. I made a mistake. Big one. When does he say that? When he realizes what human beings are. He said, I made a mistake, and God was really sad at heart that he had done this. Well, if God's book says God made a mistake, I accept that there is a fallibility in creation, a fallibility in the universe. And by the way, physicists will tell you that there is a fallibility in the universe. There is such a thing as the loss of parity. In other words, scientists try to see that there is mirror image, a counterpart for everything. For every force, there's an opposite force. And yet, when they start to dig deep into the core of the atom, they realize that there's a slight imbalance. There's something which is not quite perfect. Well, if the universe is imperfect, it agrees with what God said. Namely, I made a mistake. I just want to point that out as a significant aspect of the biblical view, which is somehow more human, more down to earth than theologians are. Now, according to the biblical view, human beings are animals. All human beings were given the gift of life, which is called ruach, the spirit, which God blew into. After all, how did God make the first human being? He took mud, and he made a sculpture, mud, and there it was. And then he put that little into it, and it became a living being. And that's the secret. You know now that they're working, trying to reduce genetic components down to the least so they can say, maybe we can create a living thing like a virus or something. Let them try. Somehow I have faith that they won't, but that's another story. The point is that life was introduced into the material thing. So the human being is a creature of God, created by God, and inspired with the breath of life, or given the breath of life. Human beings are the same as other animals. A little different. That is, a little different. Before something happened, which created Homo sapiens, which created the human being who is now the human being, namely intelligent, highly intelligent. That sets human beings above all other animals. But in the beginning, according to the story, human beings are animals. Now, if we take the story of evolution, it goes that way. Namely, human beings are descendants of animals. And animals, of course, are branches of many, many forms, and many life forms, many phyla, and then many genera and many species. And like the branches of a tree, the variations are many, and they all grow out in different in directions which branch out from a core. And among these animals, there are many which show a relationship to each other, and then one branch, rather a minor branch, but nevertheless it's a branch, we call the primates. And the primates are the monkeys, the apes. And among the primates you have the apes. And among the apes you have various types. And one of them is the naked ape that has to wear clothing. That's you and me. So there's a naked ape. Something happened in the course of the evolution of the naked ape that something developed or exploded. And that was the gray matter or the cortex in the brain. And the human being emerged different from all other creatures. In a way, you could say, when the human being, I'm following the evolutionary track, when the human being began to walk upright, began to use the opposable thumb, began to see binocular vision, and other things were combining, and then what happened? Was it a cosmic ray? Was it we don't quite know, but something happened, and the brain developed, and then speech and thought. The human being acquired something which made the human being highly intelligent.